Well, welcome back. This is What's Your Story, episode number 6, and episode number 2 on the topic of life dream. And as I've shared in the introduction last week, or the last episode, if you're not seeing these in the weekly releases, I'm speaking from my book, my self-help, group help book, Dreamer's Inc. And so in the last episode, I gave you an introduction to the book, to the project, and to the journey. Because Dreamer's Inc. is about a journey. It's about our life journey. And so it's something that goes on. So this week, what we're doing is we're going over chapter 1, which is, what is Dreamer's Inc.? I'm glad that you asked. So Dreamer's Inc., the stuff in this book, is not only an adventure, but it's a way of life. It's about finding out who we are inside and discovering what our gifts and talents are, and then walking a lifelong journey to a destiny that was planned before the foundations of the earth, a destiny that, according to Psalm 139, was written in our own book that's in heaven. It's a book that Father thought and wrote about each one of us individually. You know, there's other books out there. There's books about generations and inventions and all kinds of plans and governmental purposes for how we live and things as technology progresses along as well. Today I want to talk about what's inside of us. What is Dreamer's Inc.? What's so special about it? And it comes from Habakkuk 2:2, which means write the vision down, so that angels or people can read it and run with it. So if somebody's planning to build a big tower, a big business tower, somebody's got to have the dream first. Somebody's got to have the plans. And then somebody has to take that vision and that dream, and if they're not an architect, find a builder, find all the people that's necessary to build that project. And that's what it takes in our life. And there are storehouses in heaven that the Lord has created that will fulfill each of those books and those dreams and those inventions and everything. Sometimes those storehouses are connections with other people. Sometimes to fulfill a dream, the person that has the dream can't fulfill it all. You know, Joseph had a dream there in Genesis, I think 37, and that his brothers and his family and people were going to bow down to him. But he didn't have the whole dream. He didn't know the years, I think it was 13 years he was going to spend in that dungeon and other things before his dream would become a reality and he would become second in command of Egypt, the most powerful force on the earth at that time. So every dream is given so that we have something to look forward to. And only God knows the end from the beginning, right? He knows our destiny. He knows how everything's going to go. And he wrote it all out for us. And so Janice and I, we have changed how we pray. So every morning when I'm talking to the Lord, I'm saying, Father, would you please give us what's on our page today? And you know, this book you have in heaven, what's on our page marked November the 1st, 2022? And it's me sitting in front of this camera, evidently, talking to you. And I didn't plan today. Today just happened. A bunch of circumstances came together. I normally film on Wednesdays or Thursdays. Wednesdays right before my music show. But our path, in my perspective, kind of got disrupted this last week because our transmission went out in the Yukon. And the way I've been able to pay for each night here at the hotel is by driving 6 days a week for Lyft here in Houston, Texas. So we've had to have a few more miracles every day than what has been normal. So I'm going to go ahead and get on to the story here. If I have a little bit of time, maybe I'll add some other stuff. I don't write everything out that I'm going to say. I went over chapter 1 a while ago, and I put some key notes to kind of share to you. And I literally have them right there in front of me under the camera so that I can focus mainly on talking to you. So if I look down occasionally or look down like this, I'm looking at this, okay? So, but I hope we can have some fun in this. I'm not trying for perfection here. I'm just me, I'm being real, and I'm speaking to you what I feel is the Holy Spirit sharing with me. So when we talk about an actual journey, a way of life, I like to see each day as an adventure, even if it doesn't go the way I think it should. And because that means if it doesn't go the way it should, that means I'm going to find a blessing in it somewhere. Sometimes like the transmission going out, it's forced us to connect to other people that we didn't know before. And in this point, more Christians that we didn't even know were out there. You see, every dream is dependent upon other people. But if they don't know who you are, if they don't know where you are, how are we going to connect to help each other? Because if I'm here talking about dreams and I'm helping you, chances are somebody else around, maybe somebody out there, is eventually going to be able to help me. It's how it works. And that's why God's designed his kingdom to be all-inclusive. There shouldn't be a church on one corner or a church on the other corner and then not talking and communicating and praying for one another. If we're really part of his body, if we're Christians and we're born again, we're brothers and sisters. And so in a normal family, sometimes we get mad at each other, but we only have one Father. And so, we need to get over ourselves. There are some things that simply don't matter. They simply don't make a difference except isolate us. And we need everybody on board because this world is crazy. It's a lot of chaos out there. But ultimately, he's going to have his way. And he's looking for those that will walk with him, that will talk with him every day and be interested in his plans for their life. And like I said before, I think I shared it on the last podcast or one of my other podcasts in this series. I didn't know I was a songwriter until I was 27. And then, even then, it's been years of writing, not going anywhere. I was running the sound for several churches and thought, well, I've written some songs we could sing during church. And I tried to get on the worship team. I was on there for a little while later on, but for a year and a half, it was just me running the sound. And I got burned out. And I said, you know what? I need some help. And so, because they always told me when I was wanting to go up there and be a part of the worship team, oh, we need you back there more than we need you up here. We got enough people up here. So, but I learned how to mix the music. Now I mix my own tracks. I play all of the instruments on my keyboard except for the guitar. So in a nutshell, it was kind of good. It forced me to learn other stuff. Then I went back to the Art Institute at the age of 42, learned how to do websites, multimedia, film, audio recording, editing, and graphic design. So now I typeset, I'm my own publisher. I do all these books myself. I put them on Kindle. I do all my own music, CDs, all the artwork, the graphics, and everything. Not that I want to, but I didn't have the money. I had the talent, so I didn't let anything stop me by his grace. We also need to realize that this path, because of where he leads us, different people he connects to us based on sometimes circumstances we go through or storms we go through or mountaintops, we're going to meet those other people. And along the way, we're going to learn things that are going to define where we're going. See, there are certain things that we can do today and ways we can do things today we couldn't do back in the 1920s because of the technology that's here. So each one of these dreams also has to do with the generation, the time, and the geographical area where we live. Today, not so much, because you can get an airplane and you can go just about anywhere, if you have the money to do so. So on this path, the defining will help us realize our hopes and dreams. And if, big if, if, in all caps, if we can find out what is on our book in heaven and the gifts and the talents he placed in us, and walk that path, we'll be the happiest person, or one of the happiest persons on the earth. And guess what? If we had 1 million people doing that, or the whole world, what if everybody on this earth was living his plan in our life? How much better would it be? So hopefully we're heading that direction. And the Holy Spirit is the one that brings us all together and connects us all together on different days, different projects, different times in our life. Sometimes there's people that come into our life for just a day, maybe an hour, maybe a moment, somebody in passing. And then we'll have people that will become lifelong dreams. Sorry, caught myself, lifelong friends. So we need to know that every dream that's from him is not selfish. It's not about us. Ultimately, it's about him. We get to walk with him and be fulfilled because that's our purpose in life. And so we're connected, and all of our individual dreams make up his big dream and his plan for humanity. You know, if you read from Genesis to the end of the book of Revelation, you'll see what his plan is. We may not understand it except for by his Spirit. He gives us glimpses. Now, in this book, I wrote this book when I was up in Montrose, Colorado in 1992. And later on, after I got my degree, I actually added a few more pages to it and made it into this nice little book, which is an allegory. And I've got an art print that I will put up as a slide here. You'll see it as I'm talking. But I've got it in the back of the book here. And it's this giant art print I did. I did like 40 different generations of it because I kept getting better at drawing each time. I started out with stick figures. And I completed it, and now it's about a 30 by 40 art print. But it goes over the different paths of life and, the two sides and so hopefully I'll have that out in print at some point too. But we just have to take steps to get to where we're going, Today, we need a transmission. And we need somebody to be able to do that transmission because we don't have the money for it. So that's another miracle we're waiting on just to go forward. We have to form a nonprofit, an LLC for the tour. And we've got folks working on that. And what that is doing is it's bringing more people together so I can share more of the vision so that everybody all of us can have our own spot in it. It's not about me. I'm not a superstar. I don't care to ever be, except I think Christians are all superstars because if his light is in you and you're allowing it to be shining, then it's a shining in the midst of the darkness, and you're a superstar. Anyway, that was for free. So look up. Stop looking down at every little thing that goes wrong because he's able to take everything that's meant for evil and turn it for good. In fact, the devil doesn't like it, except when we just stop in that one place because that's what he wants us to do. It's like, no, Father wants us to get up and keep going, and we'll see that even the bad things that happen to us, if we'll keep on walking with him, he's going to make something good out of it. And so, one question for you though, are you looking? Jesus said, ask, seek, and knock on the door. And keep on asking, keep on seeking, keep on knocking until you get the answers. See, they're in a supernatural realm that we can't see unless he gives us spiritual insight, unless he speaks those words to us. And so we have to, sometimes when you knock and you knock and you knock, you develop is it persistence? Yeah, persistence. And that helps with maturity as well. You don't just knock once and give up. No, if there's something inside of us that if we pursue and we pursue, we start becoming passionate about it and we keep going forward. You know, there's some people, they commit suicide in their teens, their early 20s, and yet they live to be 60, 70, 80, 90 years old. Just because they don't end their breathing, they give up on life. What happens when you give up on life? When somebody gives up on life because something happens at a certain age, their body slowly starts to decay. Sometimes it takes years because they start thinking negative thoughts. They start saying negative thoughts. They start claiming these sicknesses because of symptoms. They say, my disease, my ailment. And you listen to the drug commercials and these people are going, my allergy, my this, my that. No, it's not mine. I may have some symptoms, and it's a gift from the enemy to go in, you hear somebody say, I'm feeling like I'm coming down with something. Thank you, devil. I'll take that gift. I want it. It's mine. No, it's not. You take your junk and you go somewhere else. I'm a child of the God. I don't have to receive you. I am healed by his stripes. His blood has set me free. I am free from the curse, because cursed is somebody that dies on the cross. And you know one thing I've been talking about lately? Old age is a curse. Our bodies are dying. It's one of the curses. We were meant to live forever. So I'm like, Lord, that's a curse too. My body, I've got the power that raised Christ from the dead is dwelling in my being. I've got supernatural energy, supernatural strength. It's in the scriptures. I got divine healing and divine health. I don't care what I'm seeing. It can't stay. See, everybody's got cancer cells in their body. But most of the time, the white blood cells take care of it. Our immune systems take care of it. What happens is if we eat a lot of sugar and stuff that brings our immune system down, then sometimes that stuff can take over. So you also have to watch how you eat. But even in that, he's more than able to keep us healthy and whole, and to keep us going for as many years as he wants us here. In fact, if he comes back, we're going to live for 1,000 years. He's going to reign for 1,000 years on this earth. You know, do the research. Read the scripture for yourself. You know. So, don't die at a certain age and just keep on existing. Come on, live life. Find out why you're here. And then connect to those that can encourage you. And encourage others. You know, the scripture says that if we encourage others, we will ourselves be encouraged. Wow. Well, you know what? I'm one of the biggest ones out there that need encouragement. So every day, I make it a point to encourage everybody I talk to somehow. Just a smile. You know, I had a young clerk, and she had some law school, and she was the clerk at a 7-Eleven there in Old Colorado City in Colorado Springs. And it was one of my pit stops when I was driving for a Lyft a few years back. And she had asked me what I was doing, and I tell her stories when I came in there, because she'd ask me, she said, hey, Joseph, what kind of story you got for me today? Who'd you pick up? You know, what was the story? And one day I walked in, she goes, Joseph, hey, come here. So let me use the restroom first, please. And anyway, so I went over and talked to her, and she goes, yeah, she said, there was this lady in here. She said, and I went over to open the door and help her out of the store. And she looked up at me and she said, you don't know what you just did. And she said, I'm like, no, I don't. What did I just do? And the lady told her, she said, you just saved my life. I was going home to commit suicide, and your kind gesture changed my mind. How long did that take her? 5, 10, 15 seconds? Just to, you know, sometimes a smile, just to be acknowledged, changes somebody's mind. And so, you know, what does it cost to be kind? What does it cost to be encouraging? Let's flip it around. What does it cost to be hateful, envious, jealous? See, because what you sow, you reap. Maybe not right away, maybe years down the road. Maybe you're going right now and you're just going and going and going and doing all kinds of bad stuff. And you're like, man, I'm getting away with all this. Well, why does that guy get away with everything? Look how evil he is. One moment, it can all change. So as long as the devil's got you, he'll let you think anything. He'll let you believe anything. But I guarantee, outside the grace and the mercy of the Lord Jesus Christ, you're going to reap what you sow. And I learned a long time ago, I'm going to start repenting of that stuff, asking his forgiveness and get that stuff wiped out of my life, because I don't want to reap that stuff. So anyway, I'm just throwing some things out there that are not in the book. I hope that if you don't know what your destiny is, if you don't know what your dream is, I hope you get the book. It's cheaper on Kindle if you don't have a lot of money. Read it on your phone, your tablet. If you want it, this is actually a color book. I've got some poems in there I wrote, and pictures of our journeys. There's one when we crossed into Alaska. It was actually 11:30 at night, but it didn't get dark when we were up there. You know, they have a lot of sun in the summertime. So things like that, just things of where we've been able to go that, you know, I didn't even know if it was possible. And, you know, the reason I called my tour, our tour, whatever you want to call it, America Dare to Dream, is I was driving in Colorado Springs, and that's the #1 county in the nation in suicide. I didn't know it at the time. But I had 24 people out of 4,000 rides that admitted to me they were going to commit suicide or they were thinking about it. You talk about praying. I mean, my wife and I are ordained ministers. We don't have a church, but this is our mission. And, you know, I'm praying like, Lord, what do I say next? How do I encourage them? Because if I don't do something, they may not be here tomorrow, and their family and friends may have to plan for a funeral. And all those lives wrecked. And quite literally, I'm tired. I shouldn't say tired, but I am. I'm tired of counseling people that have lost loved ones to suicide, because it's hard. They're broken. They're torn apart. Sometimes they blame each other. Sometimes their parents divorce, because either they blame each other or they can't handle it. And it rips apart friendships. It rips apart families. It causes more suicides. And I became determined, I want to stop it. Because if I stop it from happening, then there's none of that. If you, if us, if we can just dare to use our mouths sometimes, even if we're wrong, and say, you know, hey, Joe, I may be wrong on this, but I need to know that you're okay. You know, if I missed it, fine. At least you'll still be my friend tomorrow. But if I'm right on, man, I don't want to bury you tomorrow. Come on, man, what's going on? And we've got to become that real. We've got to get rid of the stigma, because it's not one little thing that causes people to take their life. There's a game that we used to play in the 60s and 70s. It was called The Straw That Broke the Camel's Back. You know, I can carry a 1 pound, even 2 1-pound dumbbells all day long. It's no big deal. It's not going to weigh me down. But if I'm carrying 100 of those, you know, strewn about all over my body, hooked up, and I can't do that. And that's what it's like when we judge one another, when we have unforgiveness towards each other, and we hate, and we're angry, and all of this stuff, and it keeps building. Okay, add another 1-pounder, add another 1-pounder. I don't like the way you are. I'm going to, you know, I don't want to be a party. Add a 1-pounder. You hurt me. I'm going to carry that anger and all that bitterness because you hurt me and you won't forgive me. Add another 1 pounder, another 1 pounder. Forgiveness is not for their benefit. It's, I'm taking this stuff off and I'm going to be free. I'm going to be free to dance. I'm going to be free to find my dream and live it. And that's what this book is all about. It's about getting around the table with your family, with your friends, with your coworkers, and daring to talk to one another and be transparent and say, hey, you know what, John? I see this in you. John goes, how do you see that? I'm not that. I'm not good enough. I can never be that. Oh, yes, you are. Guess what you just did? You just encouraged him. And then it comes your turn. You know, there is some good things called critique if you're really wanting to help the person. I learned at the Art Institute how to take constructive criticism because I can't see everything and I don't know everything. So if I'm putting this book together and I'm like, where should I put this feather? You know, I move that feather around in InDesign so much, I actually Photoshop. And I finally got it in the right place, and I talked to my son and said, hey, what do you think? He said, yeah, it looks good there. See, there's some things he goes, Dad, you shouldn't do that. But we've got to be willing to be okay. We've got to be confident in who we are. And so, you know, we left San Antonio, started out the tour. It was called Follow Your Dreams back then, in March of 2013. We've been on the road since 2013, save we were in a townhome in Noonan, Georgia, which is South Atlanta, for 9 months. And then last year we tried to get an apartment, ended up having black mold in it, and I got black mold poisoning. The year and a half before that, I had a concussion driving through a Costco parking lot. And then in January of this year, I was attacked by vertigo. And, you know, those things are tough. But I wrote a song about the concussion. It's called I've Got to Breathe. Where'd I go? Where'd my memory go? Why can't I remember? Why can't I just have a total conversation with somebody instead of it going away about halfway through and I have no clue what I was talking about? Or seeing the words kind of double, blurred vision. Not where I couldn't drive or anything, but it did affect my night and daytime driving for a while. I had to have prism glasses, which I didn't even know existed. I went through 7 pair of those in 3 months. So we all have those storms, you know, but we're on a journey. We have so many divine appointments now. You know, if you put it on statistics, the odds of it are impossible. We've been translated through time. We've made an hour-long trip in 30 minutes. I think it was 55 minutes and less than that, but it was, you know, in about half the time because we needed it and the Lord just said, here. He even did it. So, you know, we've gone where we've been sent. We've been in 37 states now. We drove through Canada, the Alaskan Highway, all the way up to Alaska. It's beautiful, but it's a long journey from Seattle to Homer, Alaska, south of Anchorage, what they call Land's End, the end of the Alaskan Highway. But when you travel, you get to see how people live in different places, and you start to understand some of what they believe and who they are. So when you get back to your comfortable place, you're like, oh, I understand them now. But what they're doing doesn't work here. Obviously, those living in California, the way they live doesn't apply to Texas. Those living in New York City with all the public transportation, it doesn't work in Houston, Texas. You got to have a car to get around, okay? And those are just some simple things. So I set up something for Dreamers Inc. It's called the Dreamers Inc. Life Force. And we're going to have some gift sets. We're going to have some nice pins. We have the book. We'll have the certificate in the back. I think I talked about in the last podcast, but basically it has a place for your name, the date, it has a declaration of your dream, and then you write your dream out, and you get friends and family, somebody, if you're in a group doing this together, you get everybody to sign it, to write their names and their phone number. And then you frame it and you put it at different places in your house, and you go look at it every day because it will encourage you. And if you're going through a spot where you need help or you're on the edge of suicide, you'll remember to get your phone out and start calling those numbers. And when you tell them what's going on, they already know, and they're going to stop everything and they're going to be there for you. And if they're not, they're going to call somebody else to be. You understand? That way we can help each other. It's not much, but it doesn't take much. So we're going to have these meetings. People can start their own meetings. They can do them however they want to. I just wrote a book of questions. There's a study guide in the back for each chapter, asking you questions that the chapter went over, okay? And we've all been around dream crushers. We've all had it in our childhood. People told me I couldn't carry a tune. Now I've got 3 albums out. I'm working on album 4 and 5. And hopefully, by His grace, I'll have those done before we go on tour in March. You know, music was hard to me. I played drums in high school. It was all mathematical. Now I can actually feel it. You see, all that stuff got crushed. I tried to play the guitar. My uncle's Telecaster back in the 60s. He had his own band and he let me use his guitar, but all these outside voices. You can't do that. You'll never make money at that. No, it was a God-given directive for me to do it, because in 2011, He's literally sent me 3 prophets in 1 month saying, get back to your music. You stop walking away from it. Now I'm 60. But you know what? Age doesn't count, does it? Age is part of the curse. How many people does it take to change the world? 1. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is a good example of that. It cost him his life, but it was his God-given dream. He's affected 2 generations. He's affected the whole world. And Putin, 1 person, is affecting the whole world today for evil, about to put us at the brink of World War III. Which one are you going to be? Is your life going to be, are you going to be known? Is your legacy going to be, he made the world a better place around him, or he brought the world down? Songwriters, what's your words? What's your lyrics? Is it to make it a better place or worse? You can write about a story that you're going through, but don't promote the violence and all that stuff. Give them an answer of how to get through it. You know, if you want change, it's changed by you first, and then it affects everybody else. It doesn't come from the government down. What comes from the government down is control and greed and power. Because there's a lot of people there, they got to have it because they don't have anything inside of them themselves. They're not fulfilled, they're not confident of who they are, and they think that all that money, all that power is going to save them, and it's not. It just rips them apart. It rips their families apart. It rips everyone around them. Because hate and fear don't do any good for anybody. Only love does, and His name is love. So I didn't mean to preach today, but there are some scriptures there I think you need to hear. So we need to be able to focus. We need to have a target out there. I told a songwriter here in Houston that I gave a lift ride to. I said, before you start your journey, you need to figure out what your destiny is going to be. Where do you want to be at the end of your life? You just want to have all this money and all this power and be empty inside? Or would you like to have a life fulfilled because you're doing what you're created to do? Determine that destiny, give it to the Lord, ask Him to help you, and it'll be an adventure the rest of your life. And the rest of this book will go into all of that. We have some gift sets that we're putting together that I'll talk to you about. We have this life force that I was talking to you about. And so go through the book. And if you want to, if you can't afford it, have one book, 10 people. Less than, about a little over $1. I mean, the price is going up, so I'm going to have to raise the price on these books. But go for it. It's your life. Live it how you want to. And you'll never work another day in your life. My wife's biography is here. The most miraculous story I've ever heard, or one of them. We're turning it into a movie. We've got a GoFundMe project out there raising $5 million. And we want to create a fan base of 5 million people. You want adventure, kingdom adventures, supernatural, mystery, romance. This 5-book series I wrote them cover to cover, strictly by revelation from the Lord. This is a sample movie poster of my wife's story that we're working on. I have 3 albums out: Dare to Dream, We Are American, and Somebody's Hero. There's patriotic songs in there. There's romantic songs in there. There's challenging songs in there. Challenging you. Please, you're here for a purpose. Fulfill it. Have fun. And go for your dream. And we live in the best country to do that, America, where dreams can come true. So God bless you. I'm going to end this with a song. And then I'll see you in episode 7, which will be episode 3 of the Life Dream, okay? God bless you. This song is one I'm going to put on my new album. It's one I wrote about my wife and for my wife. And it's really how I feel about her. And she loves the song, which is a good thing. But I want to share it with you and give you an idea of what's coming up on the new album. Granted, I have to write the drum score to it yet and put all the other instrument tracks in. Who knows, maybe I'll have some musicians to help me and we can collaborate and make it more of a group effort. I don't like doing everything by myself because I'm better when I'm around others and we're collaborating, we're putting ideas out there because there's more to choose from. So I hope you like it and I hope it blesses you, and I hope you have a relationship like this too. And if you don't, pray for it. Ask the Lord, Holding you in my arms tonight. relationships. May you find His love and your love together and be a threefold cord that cannot be broken. So until the next time, have a good life and go for your dream.